Thank you all for joining us today for this exclusive webinar event, the 3 secrets to grow your cleaning business without being lowest price. We're grateful that we have our special guest, and I'll introduce him in a second, but my name is Samuel Clayton. I'm the Director of Marketing at Cleantelligent Software. And we set up the event because 2020, admittedly, has been quite tough. It's introduced a lot of new challenges to organizations like yours. So we really wanted to hold a free event that could really give some value to what you might be experiencing and dealing with as COVID-19 has been going over the last several months. And really hope that you can find some insight into the tactics that our guest is going to be giving us today. And a big shout out to the teams that are fighting on the front lines against COVID-19. We recently shared a video to thank the Heroes of Clean, a campaign that we've been running over the last several months that we really appreciate all the hard work that you're doing. It's not an easy job. It's not a job that gets a lot of praise, but we're seeing more and more that your work is valued and that you're doing things for your community to keep it healthy and safe, and we appreciate that. As we go through the webinar, just so you're aware, if you do have questions, make sure that you place them in the chat. We won't necessarily be answering them during the chat or during the event, but we will, after our guest has gone through all of his content, we then will have a Q&A at the end, and we'll take those questions from the chat and see if we can get an answer for you. So now, we need to introduce our guest today. This man has inspired salespeople, entrepreneurs, and organizations to transform their sales and marketing or risk obsolescence. He is the author and has popularized the concept of revenue production marketing, aka RPM, which I love that. I love acronyms.
So do I.
He founded Janitorial Marketing Solutions, a sales and marketing company, and works with people and organizations across the globe. He is leading the movement of Clean Freaks, a group of cleaning enthusiasts dedicated to elevating the status of professional cleaners that saves lives, improves organizations, and preserves planet Earth. So without further ado, please give a warm welcome from your virtual office for the Clean Freak himself, Mr. Adon Rigg. Adon, it is all yours, buddy.
Awesome. Thank you. Hey, everybody. I'm very glad to be here. Want to give a shout out, as Samuel did, to the Heroes of Clean, and also to yesterday here in Canada was Remembrance Day. I think it was Veterans Day there. But just to the veterans that allowed us to be free like we are here. So thank you very much, everybody. Today, what I want to talk to you a little bit about is, some secrets that I have found, or some tactics that are actually going to help you grow your business. And now I know that there is a massive amount of information out there. I mean, you have people, whether or not you're talking cleaning or just sales and marketing, they say cold calling's dead, this is dead, don't do this, do that, do this. It is very overwhelming. And so what I try to do is I try to make things simpler and as simple as possible, so that it's easier to digest, and that's what's always been good for me. And I'm trying to pay it forward to the people that helped me as I was younger, trying to navigate through all the information and kind of finding my identity and how to be impactful. Now, I like to write this down so I don't mess it up. Now, this is probably not your first workshop, and it's taken. If you've taken other programs only to be left wanting, I want to tell you it's not your fault. There is a lot of information out there, and it can be confusing, which keeps us from success that we deserve and desire. And I know that's true for me. If you've been concerned in the past you can't succeed with training, I want you to put those fears aside. You've got this. You only need the right information and teacher, and I'm going to show you today. Now, a lot of people teach you on what to do, but they don't teach you on how to do it. So I'm going to give you some insights today on how to do it. And if you ever thought it was done on purpose, I think you're right. But anyhow, let's move forward, because us cleaners, we are here to change the world, and we actually do change the world. And I'm going to show you today a little bit on how we can do that. Now, who is this for? This is for anyone that is responsible for growing revenue in the cleaning industry. So You might be in the services side, residential, commercial cleaning. You might be a manufacturer's rep in the supply side, a janitorial distribution sales rep, or someone in marketing. If you are responsible for growth in some way, shape, or form in the cleaning industry, then this is for you. Now, to make sure you're at the right place, I want to make sure that you know what to expect, and so we're not wasting your time. So I hope that you get out of this class today. The only way for you to exponentially grow your cleaning business is to sell health. You can't sell clean. And the only way to learn that process is through the janitorial marketing solutions, which some of the things I'm going to show you today. Now, if you don't know who I am, I started in the industry in 1994. And this Cleaning Up in Sales is a free ebook on my website. If you go, it has 50 articles of newsletters that you can just give your email address and it'll instantly get it. You're allowed to repurpose it, put it on your website, send it out to your customers, email marketing, whatever. So that's something I've done. You might have seen me in ISA Today, written a bunch of ebooks, and of course my book, Insightful Selling, which I wrote back almost 10 years ago now. Now, if you don't know anything about me, let me give you a little bit of my history. In 1994, I got an interview at a company called West Clean by fluke because my name is Adon. A girl that I was working with, boyfriend, wanted to talk to me because he wanted to know if it was me, because no one had the name Adon back then, and I did. And so I got an interview at West Clean and ultimately got the job. And before that, I spent 5 years trying to find my way. My parents went bankrupt when I was 18. I decided not to follow them into this small little rural town. I knew that I wanted to stay in the big town and kind of make it on my own. I went to welfare. Welfare said, hey, you got to be 19. Go pick cherries, go pick apples. And I didn't know what to do. So I built log houses. I worked at beer and wine stores. I sold filter clean vacuums door to door. And ultimately, through that experience, landed at West Clean. So I skated from job to job. And when I got an interview at West Clean, and I asked Kevin, I said, well, what's West Clean? Because he was worked there. He said, you sell cleaning supplies. And I had no idea. I thought you just go to the local grocery store and buy your toilet paper and your Windex. I had no idea how sophisticated the industry was. And so I started that job, and I really didn't take it too serious. I mean, I did okay. It was a job. But the minute I met my wife about 2 years later and then had twins, and then she had a 3-year-old, so I had 3 kids, a wife, dog, 2 cats in a matter of 2.5 years, it was time to grow up, right? It was time to get focused and to look after these guys. Now, the problem with that is that I could talk and I could go and see people, and I was extroverted, so that's why I got into sales, and that's why, I also had the job, but I had no idea what I was doing. I was showing up, and I really, really kind of had this deep insecurity about how to look after my family. And we were so broke that my wife worked nights from 4 to about 8 or 9 at night as a waitress. And the only clothes we had, anything we had, was used, except for socks and underwear. I always have to put that out there. Everything else was used. I had 1 or 2 nice shirts, a pair of nice pants for work, and all we had were, if I went to the movies or something, it was used clothing. And it got so bad as I was just showing up for my job every day, trying to sell, that I got a job working at my wife's restaurant on Friday nights, Saturday nights, and Sundays, from anywhere till 12 to 2 or 3 in the morning, delivering pizza. And that was money where I would come home and I would give it to her, and she'd pay for the kids' hot lunch and buy milk and what have you. And it was tight. And externally, I felt kind of embarrassed. My friends, I didn't, try not to tell my friends I was delivering pizza. Those that didn't know kind of said, well, that's honorable. You're working hard for your family and stuff. Internally, I felt absolutely rejected. I felt like, well, quite frankly, I felt kind of like a loser, and I couldn't make any success. I would try to build relationships, and people were nice, and I'd show them products, and they'd say, yeah, let me think about it, and then they'd come back and say, yeah, no, we're good. And sometimes I'd make calls, and I'd see almost something very similar. I'd show them that they bought from my competitor. So they took my advice, went to my competitor, and bought it from them because they liked him or her. So I was up against a wall. I just couldn't get anywhere. And in fact, I quit and opened up a bookstore for 1.5 years. And it was during that time that I recognized the beauty I had about being in sales. Because on the bookstore, I would place an ad in the paper, and I would hope and pray that someone would walk in and buy a book, and then they'd buy a book, and hopefully they'd buy something else. And I realized I had my own destiny. I realized by being in sales, I could go out and create my own destiny. And I swore from that point that I would get better at selling, and I would get better at growing and being successful. Now, in that time, I read this quote from Herb Keller. And it says, market share has nothing to do with profitability. Market share says we just want to be big. We don't care if we make money doing it. And it really resonated with me because there was a guy in and around my bookstore that drove a BMW. And I was driving a car that I bought for 250 bucks, a big, huge boat. Someone backed into it once, and it wasn't even worth even going through insurance or anything. It was a hunk of junk, but it worked. And I recognized that, people go into Walmart all the time. And I was going to Walmart, and this person's buying a BMW. And I recognized that there's a difference between market share and profitability. I've been taught to go out in sales and make 10 calls a day, make 12 calls a day. And in fact, when I first started, it was 10 calls a day, and you had 5 steps you're going to do for every customer. And it was just like, you're beating them over the head. Hey, buy, 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 buy. And you get nowhere, right? You get somewhere a little bit, but nowhere. I recognized I needed to find a way to be profitable, to make someone want to buy more, and I work less, because me making these 10 calls a day wasn't working. I didn't know it at the time, but nowadays we kind of find it and call it, a blue ocean, get out of the red ocean. And if you're not familiar with this concept, most of us are out selling, marketing, what have you, in a red ocean, meaning we walk in and we look just like our competitor, right? We have a uniform, we have a cloth, we have a spray bottle, or whatever it is, and we're like, well, I'll do it. We clean better, I promise, right? And what we need to do is create a blue ocean. We need to create an ocean that leaves our competitors. They let them fight over the person that doesn't value cleaning. Let's focus on the blue ocean. So I knew I had to figure this out. And one of the things that really resonated with me, because I didn't know how to differentiate cleaning, but when I read this quote as well, by Frank Perdue, I don't even know really who he is, but I know he owned a chicken farm. But if you can differentiate a dead chicken, you can differentiate anything. And that stuck with me. And so that gave me a paradigm shift in my mind. And that's where it started to really click. So by this time, I was leaving the bookstore, and it was time to get a job and go back into sales. And I was looking for an angle. And one day, Grandma was coming over to see the kids, and we had 2 cats. And she phoned me, she's coming over, it was a Sunday, and we put the cats in the bedroom. And as I'm vacuuming and cleaning, because Grandma's allergic to cats, my wife jokingly said something, oh, look at you cleaning, insinuating, I didn't do it very often. Look at you cleaning for your grandma's health. Isn't that sweet? Something like that. And it clicked. And I recognized that I was cleaning for Grandma's health, and that Grandma didn't care if the place smelled good or even looked good. She didn't expect it. You had 3 kids running around that, but she couldn't have the cat hair and stuff because her eyes would water, her skin would itch, and she'd be out of there very soon. She wanted to enjoy her time in my house. So that's where it really started to click. And what I realized and came to accept is that people don't value cleaning, right? And they won't pay for it. And that is just a hard truth. They don't value it, but they do value health. But they don't equate health with cleaning. Now, a little bit more because of COVID right now, people are recognizing the importance of cleaning and stuff, but they're not paying for it. The condo I live in, they're not increasing the cleaners coming in every day. They don't want to spend more money. The gym I'm at, I don't see anyone walking around cleaning. I mean, they've got spray bottles for us and stuff like that, but there's not an increase. They don't want to increase their costs, even during a pandemic. And so it was a hard pillow for me to swallow, because all I had done is try to put more products on more shelves And I realized that me trying to sell my products and or your services is not the answer. So what I came to recognize and realize is that what we're actually doing is, if you look at this building, okay, we are trying to stop things from coming in there. Some things are within our control and some things are not within our control. Okay, so people spend an average of 90% of their time indoors. Now that is a statistic from EPA from the 80s. Now, the time has got to be even more. I mean, when I was younger, mom and dad used to kick me out of the house, go play, right? So many kids at home all the time. So we all spend at least 90% of our time, the majority of us, in a building, home, work, whatever it is. And the contaminants indoor are up to between 2 and 5 times worse than the contaminants outdoors. So I don't know about you, but there are many times I go out to maybe a restaurant or what have you, and I'm sitting there with a customer or what have you, and I'll notice I have the sniffles. And this is where, years ago, I started to put all this together. I started to have the sniffles. And I remember one time someone saying to me, "You getting a cold?" No, I didn't think I was. And then I'd leave the restaurant and I'm driving, and about 10 minutes later, I realized I don't have the sniffles. So what was making me sniff? What was making me kind of all sniffle? That my person said, said to me, are you getting a cold? Well, we don't know, right? It might have been the underarm deodorant of the waiter waitress. It might have been the residue in the carpets. It might have been the filtration in the building. It could have been the disinfectant that they had wiped on the table that was affecting me. We don't know. But what we do know is that this is what it's doing. And so that's what I want to talk about, the 3 special hacks today on how to differentiate your business. And the first one I want to talk to you about is a strategy hack. Now, for the sake of time, I just want to quickly tell you what a strategy is. A strategy is not, I'm going to grow my business 20% this year. That is a goal. That is a wish. That is whatever. It's not a strategy. A strategy is a set of tactics, a set of steps, a set of activities that lead to that goal. So just to clarify that, to make sure we're on the same page. So how do you knock your competitors out? You knock them out with a value story. Okay, so let me give you an example. We start building the funnel, right? Let's start looking at our business like a funnel. It starts with the story. It doesn't start with your packaging, your products, your service, your uniforms, your relationship, you trying to be nice to the person so they like you. None of that matters. It matters if you want a price-based sale. Sure. The people, you being nice, the person might say, yeah, let's give them a chance, but I'm not going to pay a penny more, right? So that's the reality of it. But they will when you tell them a story. We love stories. We all sit back and we watch, what's going to happen next week in the Game of Thrones or whatever. We're entangled by stories. Our ancestors sat around fires and told stories and passed down the message of, on what to do in life or whatever through stories, through parables, through metaphors. And that's what we need to do. People think in pictures, right? Not words. So we need to paint pictures when we're speaking. And that was huge for me. And so we need to tell a story that's different, right? So storytelling is the best marketing. So the question is, what's the story? What story can we tell, should we tell to our customers? Well, at the end of the day, everything we do in the cleaning business, whether or not I'm selling cleaning supplies or whether or not you're selling cleaning services, we are not selling clean. We are not selling a better smelling place. We're not selling a nicer looking, shinier floor. Those are all nice. Absolutely. Ultimately, what we are doing is we are reducing risk. That's what we're doing. We are reducing the risk to the people in the building. We're reducing the risk to the planet through the products and processes we use. We're reducing the risk of the profitability to the organization by people being sick, by people improving productivity, by people being smarter, thinking faster, all these things. All of these have an impact on the risk to people, the risk to the planet, and the risk to profitability. Those are the, so that's what we are. So it took me a long time because I went from, I need to differentiate myself to risk was a lot of years to put it all together, and the books and stuff that I read to actually click. But if you start to think of yourself as a risk mitigator, as a risk evaluator, when you walk in to meet your customer, what is the risk? Okay, it's no different than, as an example, when I go to the doctor, I don't say to the doctor, I have a sore arm, I need cleaning, and he or she goes, oh yeah, here you go. Here's a quote. No, he says, oh, where? Pokes, prods, right? Pushes in my hip, whatever he does. I'm like, oh, yeah, no, I think you have this, and I'm going to write you a prescription. And that's what we need to do. We need to write a prescription for our prospects, but we don't just walk in, hey, I want to clean your building. So Richard Brown, longtime janitorial guy, says, Adon Sales Training Program, Executive Selling, is an excellent all-inclusive approach to changing how we go about growing our business. It is extremely helpful knowledge about how the dynamics of the processes change. I've been a sales trainer for both JanSan and marketing, but I don't give my recommendation lightly. I would definitely recommend utilizing Adon to help change the approach and consider it a mandatory investment in my business. So I want you to recognize what we've talked about. You've got a message now. If you learn nothing more, you got this message, you can go out and tell a different story, and you will crush it. As soon as you get better at your story, you will see your prospects' eyes click. You'll see it. You know when someone sees something different for the first time. And that's what we need to do, okay? People don't want an improvement. If you come in and I say, hey, I'm gonna clean better than your present person, or my products are better, what we're kind of saying is, Mr. Customer, you're kind of an idiot, right? You should have picked me. You picked these guys. It was a bad choice. Take a risk, take a chance on me, right? We're asking them to improve, to make an improvement, to acknowledge that they made a mistake. No one wants to do that. But people won't change on a new opportunity. When they see something different, when they go, wow, I had no idea. You can see the change in and you can see it. Trust me, you can see it. So the secret number 2 is how to get a prospect to want to meet with you immediately. Okay, so you got your message, and our message is based on sustainability, right? People, planet, profit. If you haven't heard of it, it's the 3 pillars of sustainability. Okay, the people side, the planet side, and the profit side. And the only reason why businesses are going to embrace sustainability is because of the profit side. Consumers are going to embrace it because it's safer on health, safer on the environment. But if you want your customers to switch to you, you got to have a profit side of it. So let me give you an example how you might use your message to get in the door. There was a place in Seattle, and I phoned 2 different times. And when I say you couldn't get past the gatekeeper, I mean you couldn't get past the gatekeeper. So I phoned the first time, and I said, hi, can I talk to Jesus, please? And they said, may I ask you speaking? I told them. She said, one moment. She came back. She says, yeah, we're not interested. Boom, hung up. Wasn't interested in what? So what I did is I reached out to Jesus through LinkedIn, and a day or 2 later, he accepted. Then I waited a day or 2, right? And then I sent this email to him. And this is what I mean by prospecting with your message, right? I said, you can read it here. Thank you for connecting with me on LinkedIn. I noticed your company is very focused on green and sustainable cleaning practices. There are a number of synergies our companies have, and I believe I can show you a process to differentiate your company and increase profitability. I'm in Seattle on January 24th, and I'd like to meet you for 30 minutes to show you this technology and reduce your operating costs and position you to enter new markets while enhancing your sustainability position in the marketplace. Would 9 a.m. on Tuesday, the 24th, work for you, Adon? He responded in less than a day or 2. I'm curious to learn more. That date and time work for me. Please send me a calendar invite. Now, if I had reached out to him and said, hey, Jesus, we clean buildings, and I really want to talk to you about how great we are. Or, hey, Jesus, I want to talk to you about my products. We are the #1 company. We deliver in 90% of the time. We have no back orders, and we smell like roses. He wouldn't have responded. So I'm talking to him about what he cares about, profit, right? And I'm not lying. In the cleaning industry, we absolutely impact profitability enormously. So sustainability, okay, the people, planet, profit. So what are some of the things you can prospect with, right? You got your story. So how do you prospect with your story? Well, you reach out through a phone call, a voice message, an email, a text message now starting to grow, right? These are some of the tangibles that we actually deliver in the cleaning industry to process. These are the outcomes. You reduce complaints by 40% with sustainable cleaning practices. Okay, you reduce water and energy consumption by 10% with sustainable cleaning practices. You reduce chemical spend and chemical usage and consumption by 30% using sustainable cleaning practices. You reduce absenteeism by 12% using sustainable cleaning practices. You reduce floor care costs and consumption by 30% using sustainable cleaning processes. You reduce building service contractor turnover by at least 150%. Some say 300 using sustainable cleaning practices. You improve productivity on the low end by 2%, on the high end 18%. And then we can talk about improving math scores, improving cognitive function by 61% in 5 days of cleaning. So we absolutely have a story. We just have to understand the story and then communicate the story. So here's long-term JanSan professional Luke. He says, I've been in the janitorial sales for over 25 years and prospects no longer are willing to switch vendors based on product alone, right? Health and safety, indoor air quality, and outcomes of cleaning are a game changer for getting in the door and growing my business. So you've got the fact that you got a story, you prospect with your story. If you just do those two things, you're going to absolutely increase your meeting rate by easily 10, 15, 20%, probably close to 100 once you get it down packed, because who doesn't care about, who doesn't care about improving the health of their employees? I've never once had someone say, oh, I don't give a crap about that. I've had many people tell me, I don't care about products, or I don't care, I don't want to see your new floor finish or whatever. Never had anyone say to me, oh, I don't care about the health of my employees. Not once. And because people are generally good. So you can crush this. Now, what's the closing secret? The closing secret is, this took me a long time, okay? I used to, I realized I had a story. I prospected with my story. I came in and they say, hey, how you doing? And what did I do? I started talking about my products. I started talking about my service. I started talking about how great we are. I started, we've been around since 1962, whatever. Okay? And I saw their eyes glaze over and I was like, oh. And I recognized that I was getting in the door, but I need to close the door, right? I needed to close the business. So it took me a long time to realize that I needed to start being a doctor, right? I need to be a consultant. And I got that from Brian Tracy. Remember back in the 90s, taking his programs, he was saying, think of yourself as a doctor of selling. I didn't really get that for a long time. But what I eventually did and recognized is that I needed to have a process when I came and saw a customer, right? What I was doing is I was getting them all excited. Hey, we get all excited about something new, right? You got a new date. You go for your first date, you sit down, and that person just yaps about themselves, blah, 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 blah. And you're like, oh my God, right? And you wait for your friend to call you, get you out of the date. That's what I was doing. As soon as I got there, I was ruining it for myself. So how do I close the business? How do I build a relationship based on value, not based on me being a nice guy? And I recognized that I needed to make sure that my customer focused on 3 evils, right? There are 3 evils of cleaning. They are biological, VOCs, and particulate, okay? Now, reduced particulate, or a nice word for dirt, a lot of us can get, right? We can get that. We're controlling dirt, pollen, dust before it comes into the building. I remember selling filter clean vacuums, and it was in the early 90s. And we used to, there was no internet, and we used to have a binder, and you'd open up the binder and there's a picture of a dust mite, and you'd show the dust mite and people go, oh, right? I didn't know, that's gross. And it helped sell the filter clean vacuum, right? Because you got rid of those. Or I didn't do it, but some vacuum companies went to the bed and took all the dead skin from the bed and showed people like, oh, right? because this is what's in buildings: dirt, pollen, all kinds of things. And so those are the things that impact health. We don't necessarily see the dirt sometimes. If the floor is really shiny, we don't see the dirt in the corners, right? Or I remember the amount of times I've gone to like shopping centers or shopping grocery stores, and the manager thinks his floors look fantastic because they're shiny, but there's just massive embedded dirt, right? I mean, it looks bad, but all they see is the shine. Okay, so VOCs, controlling particulate, controlling volatile organic compounds, a sexy word for odors, right? Odors, from underarm deodorant to fabric softeners to whatever it might be. These have an impact on human health. In fact, in Halifax, I met a sales rep once. I've never been to Halifax, met him in Toronto, that absolutely was in a hospital in Halifax, and the nurse or someone walked past him, came back and said, "Sir, do you use fabric softener in your laundry?" And he said, "Yes." And they escorted him out of the building, and his contact came and sat in the car with him and had a meeting in the car because of the impact that this has on health. And biological, I mean, we're dealing with biological right now, right? Biological has kind of stepped up. We're eliminating bacteria, molds, and mildews. So these are the things that we're doing. The question was, I had to make my customer aware of that, but how? And so what I did is I created a list of things that I would come to, like the doctor, right? The doctor says, "Hey, you know, where you hurt?" That's what I did. I go there, "Hey, where do you hurt?" And, "Oh, you know, smoking within 25 feet of entranceway." Yes, no, yes, right? "Oh, I didn't realize that. Bob smokes." Yeah, the smoke comes into the building. So there's all these different things that we look for, and all we're looking for is opportunities, right? Where does it hurt? Where does it hurt? So I was in my sales call, and I'm not sitting there talking to him about my product and that I'm doing an audit. And they're like, "Oh, yeah." And you're looking, they're like, "What's on that report?" And, you know, there's intrigue. So what I want to get across is the impact of poor indoor air quality. It impacts concentration. It causes eye irritation. It causes fatigue. It causes odor sensitivity. It causes dry, itchy skin. It causes headaches. It causes dizziness. It causes nausea. It causes dry cough. It causes nose and throat irritation. So that's the effects. The causes are huge, and we don't have time to go over all the causes today, but this is the impact on people, on planet, and on profits when cleaning is not done properly. So you've got your story. You now know how to prospect. Now you know how to close. So now just go there, whether or not you have a piece of paper or what have you, just walk around and ask the questions and find the pain. Find the pain. And if you do that, you're absolutely going to crush it. You're going to change the game. The customer, your prospect, is going to see you differently because your competitors walking in there saying, "I'll clean cheaper, I'll clean better, and we have a different color uniform," right? You have a process. You have value that you add. And when you start showing this value and the outcomes, it's astronomical. Just think for a second. If you walk into a private school and you sit back and say, "Mr. Customer, by our cleaning," here's the data and here's the proof. "With our cleaning, we improve math scores by 46%. We improve reading scores by 26%. We reduce sick days by 20 some odd percent." They're interested. They want to know more. But if you come in and say, "Hey, you know, we are the best cleaners since sliced bread. Yeah, give me a quote." So I hope you find this of value. You can get a lot of this information for free in my ebook, Cleaning Up in Sales. As I mentioned earlier, we'll email you the link later, so it'll come to you if you want to get it for free. And it's over 50 articles. You're free to use it and put it out there and on your email marketing, whatever, however you market. But it's articles on certification, products, processes, and procedures. So I think you'll find it of value. And then as a thing of seeing this, this is a Cleaning Secrets playbook. And it's taken me years to create all this. You can get it today for $49 if you want. Using the code CleanTelligent, you'll get that link as well. This has everything in it. It has what is Green Seal, what's Eco Logo, how do you deliver these results, how do you sell. It has the checklists. It has everything you need. And if you don't like it and you think it's not worth your time and money, then ask for a refund. You'll get 100% refund within 30 days. And Sam, that is my story, and I'm sticking to it.
That is a great story, and I'm glad that you are sticking to it. Adon, thanks so much. It was very, very informative. Great insights, I think, that many organizations that have joined today will be able to take. And as a thank you also for joining us today, we plan to send all those who did register a link to this webinar on demand for a limited time. So look out for that email from Cleantelligent. And as Adon suggested, there's that opportunity to get the Cleaning Up in Sales free copy of that ebook, which includes over 50 industry articles on certification, products, procedures, and processes. So that's really great and kind of you, Adon. So thank you. And again, we appreciate all of you hardworking individuals in the Jansen industry who are continually working hard to keep others safe during these uncertain times. We invite you to learn more about Cleantelligent. Visit us at our virtual booth on the ISSA website, but also go check us out on cleantelligent.com, and be sure to visit adonrigg.com as well to learn more about his consultancy and his effort in helping cleaning organizations like yours succeed. And so again, Adon, thanks. Everybody, thank you for joining. Look out for post emails from both parties, and stay safe out there. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much.